Selling vacations and not plane rides. How I fixed my offer after wasting 3 to 4 months just absolutely bombing with my agency. So, start of story, I used to suck-ish at sales. I was closing clients, but I really wasn't getting them on with the offer I wanted to sell. I was more of a conformist, right? So whatever offer the client would say yes to is what I would do. And what I realized is that working on commission, which is what it would end up as almost every time, is not scalable. And it slowed me down for months, right? Kind of like walking along like this grandma compared to being bolt flying. And one day I found a solution. But before then, I was working 12 to 14-hour days. I was hopeless and depleted, and this was the provider to client relationship. You see Tyron Woodley or me down here, and we got client absolutely KO'd standing over me. And another visual representation is Frank with his dog Chop here. So before I show all that and dive into what actually led to me seeing the light, here was my offer. So I was selling done for you appointment setting. I was doing pay per appointment. I would set up a full commission team and run it for them, doing the calls, everything, go high level automation, sales consulting, and lead nurturing. Right? It's a whole bunch of stuff summed up into one sentence. I would basically set all the appointments for their agency. All they would do is jump on sales calls, and I got a commission for that. And that wasn't working too well. But then one day, I saw the light. And that light was actually a friend of mine, Dylan. So what he did, he flipped my agency on its head immediately and removed the chains, slowing me down from scaling. So I was no longer this grandma, and I was back to Bolt style. And exactly what he did, absolute first thing is that he told me that prospects don't care about the logistics of the offer. The features do not matter. The prospect does not care at all. Remember that notification. They do care about the result. And let me explain what they mean by that. So a prospect would care if I got them $10,000 in added revenue. They don't really care about the appointments. They don't really care about the features. They don't really care about the team. And let me open Paint here to show you a little bit more about what I mean. So let's say, and go over here, the 2-island analogy. And to show you this, we've got first island, got the second island. So first island, it's got the tree, and then, this is my tree. And then on the tree and on the island, there's a guy. And this is a man who's, we're going to say, is the client or the prospect. And then on this other island, there is a house. So there's a house here, the little window. And then there is this man, well, we're going to assume the situation, your prospect's dude, and his whole family. So he got his wife and his kids, and they got a house. So everything, shelter, everything they need. And in between, there is a huge and super rough ocean that is splitting them apart. So if a salesman were to come over to our island 1 here, and our clients, so island 1, island 2, if a salesman were to come all the way over here, and let's say this is us, the client would not care how he got to island 2. He would not care if it was, a plane, a bouncy, like a trampoline, a portal, whatever it might be. He just wants to get to island 2, and he does not care how he gets to island 2. And it's the exact same thing. In my situation, they didn't care that I set up an appointment setting team or that I used the Go high level or how I outreached them. All they cared about was the sales calls, which led to added revenue. And in your case, right, if you're doing Facebook or Google ads, they don't care about that. All they care about is leads ending up on the phone with them, ready to close and ready to buy, because we're all doing this for money. So selling the features, selling the softwares are really just a mechanism. And if you go ahead and you pitch that to the prospect like I was doing, you're going to run into the same problem that I was running into, which is that they just don't care at all. So I was selling the features that were important to me. Back to that was lead nurturing, all that. And like I said, my prospects did not care. I switched from selling, all of these things and features that I didn't care about into desirable results. And it went like this. So the prospect grabbed the hook, and then because I sold the result, it would end up a little bit like that. And my offer, here's what it looked like after. So I realized that instead of doing everything done for you, and done for you means that I would go here and I would get in the boat, and I would jump in the boat with the guy, and he'd come over here, and then I'd row the boat with the paddle all the way to the end. I realized that my client, who were agency owners, what they actually wanted is to build the systems themselves, right? They like high level, they like building things, they like innovating. So why was I trying to row the boat for them when they love to row the boat? And that's what led to my, big conclusion, my big switch to giving them the recipe instead of giving them, just the entire done for you boat ride that they actually didn't really care about. And here's a little bit about how that looked afterwards. So I would tell them in the boat and I'd give them the row, say this is our row, and then they, because they love to row the boat or they love to innovate, they went and they did absolutely everything. And that's how it turned out. And by doing this and allowing them to go ahead and sell, they did what they did best. And it's similar to LeBron James playing basketball, and they absolutely crushed it. And I absolutely killed it, right? I sold my offer. They were loving it. They were getting results. Everyone was happy. So do not make the same mistake that I made all the way back here where, I was going ahead and I had this type of client relationship, selling a done-for-you service that they didn't really care about because I didn't understand what this Island 2 was. And I thought that, selling a boat with a luxury padding on it or a teleportation device or whatever it might be was more important than actually just selling the desired result, which is getting to Island 2. So don't make that same mistake. Here is what I would ask you guys to do. Make an offer that actually appeals to the desired result and understand how they operate. So if you're telling the car detailers or people who work with their hands don't understand technology too well, you might not want to have the same approach as me because they might not love building systems. So you might want to do something done for you, but understanding that and then what their actual Island 2 is over here so you can appeal to that and you can actually help them. And if you can follow that same advice, and I hope you learn from my story, you can optimize your offer and then sign on a bunch of clients. So hope you found this valuable, and if you enjoyed, drop a like, sub, and check out the description.